July 31, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It was quite a volatile, well, not volatile, but it was quite a action-packed day because there was a lot of economic data that came out. One was at 5:15 Pacific Standard. Everything is in Pacific Standard for me. This is the ADP non-farm payroll, which maybe have caused a small little spike. But then around 5:30, so it's like 5:15 here, then 5:30 here, maybe a continuation spike up. That was the unemployment cost index. And then at 7 o'clock, clearly in the market open, right about here, there was the pending home sales. Then the big one, which I blocked off in this red zone at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is the FOMC rate decision. It was, as everybody expected, there's no change in the rates, but everybody expects a September potential rate cut. Then at 11:30, Powell comes out and he kind of gives a little bit of a speech, color commentary. Then he takes some questions and answers. Right, he only spoke for about, I think, 6 minutes, but then his question and answer lasted for another 30 minutes. Kind of what it looked like. There was this big spike in the pre-market. Then it had this gradual up channel, and I would say pretty much the rest of the day was this big consolidation area with some swings. I took a total of one trade today, which was right here. It was early on. There were a couple of good trades that I found, these ones in the asterisks that I placed, but unfortunately I didn't take those. They look like pretty decent setups though. I'm gonna get into the trades right now. Okay, pre-market, prices rallied hard and then kind of hit this spike in a channel. Just kind of zoom in. There we go. A bit better. Spike in a channel. It kind of hit this gradual up channel. Then it opened, and on the open, it's also, keep in mind, the last day of the month. So there is a lot of, because I know a lot of institutions and a lot of money managers have to make their numbers look correct or just look better month per month. And since today is the last day of the month, there'll probably be a lot of rotation, moving in and out positions, selling lot losers, buying other ones. So I just know there's probably going to be a lot of action today. So it went up on this green channel, had an overshoot, and then came down on this orange channel. No clean second entries that I could find that I felt safe with. There was a second entry, new low here, first entry short. Second entry short, I was debating on this one. I didn't quite have this. I had this orange down channel drawn, but I wasn't sure about it yet. It's clearly going down, two legs up, and then maybe a push down. I wanted this signal bar to be a little bit better, more bearish, and I would have felt more confident taking that trade. Prices broke out of this orange down channel, kind of made a couple of attempts up, hit a high here, sold off on this green down channel, kind of fell into this yellow up channel and into this consolidation. It's the same thing here. I saw a new low here, first entry short, potential second entry short. This is your signal bar though, and it is not the best signal bar. When you do get a confirmed second entry short on this one, it felt like it was too late on the entry because this is a rather large bar. This is 4 points for 16 ticks. Prices then move. It hits this consolidation area. It's a fail breakout here, but there's kind of an upward bias or bullish bias to it because it's making higher lows every time. Breaks out, comes back down, pushes up on this orange channel. At this point, one of my trend lines, it wasn't the easiest to find which one was dominating, but I did have this one potentially because I had one touch, two touch, three touch. Because earlier I also had started it here, and this was one of the lines and looked like it fit pretty well after the second confirmation. So I deleted a few of the other trend lines that I thought might have worked, and I was kind of playing off of this one and a couple others. Prices then continue moving up, breaks out of this orange channel, and this is kind of right where the pending home sales comes out. So this is kind of economic data coming out here. It's just a little dicey to take any trades in this area. Pushes up. I did see a new low here. It's actually where I take my first, well, one and only trade. So it bounced off of this potential trend line, potential trend channel, because I kind of placed it up here. And I saw two clean legs up, one leg up, break, second attempt up. It makes a new high, and it matches the pre-market high. Technically, this is the pre-market high, but it looked like there's some kind of resistance here. It got rejected, so I like that it was two clean legs up, first attempt up, and so it's like first entry short, pullback, second entry short, large visual second entry short, rejection off the pre-market high. I wanted a lower high, and I got a lower high here. I like that it moved one tick up, flushed down. Now, technically, it didn't break below this, so it's not a clean lower high, and it is a little more aggressive and risky, but I did like this, and I watched on this next candle. It opened here, it flushed up, then it looked like it pushed down. As soon as it pushed down below this green candle, not my signal bar, not this red one, but it pushed down below this green one, and it pushed through. I set my order here, waited, it came back, picked me up, gave me my profit or my scalp, then it closed back up high. So I feel like that was definitely very lucky, because a better entry would have been at the lows of this to ensure I'm not trying to exit right where the EMA is. Because as you can see, it could also be seen as new high, first entry long pullback, potential second entry long bounce off the EMA. Had I stayed longer or got slippage, my stop was above this candle. I likely would have gotten stopped out on this bar. And if you're really aggressive and you had your stop up here, one of these guys would have stopped you out. So definitely a more aggressive trade. Lucky that it worked out. I thought it was a good read at the time because I saw it as a potential larger resistance here and a pushback down, but I didn't account, as thoroughly in thinking that maybe the EMA is starting to act as support. So definitely a lucky trade. Just kind of make sure I try to avoid setups like that in the future. Then prices push up and break through the pre-market high. So this pre-market high doesn't really even seem to matter now. I don't see any clean second entries. Technically, you have a second entry here, so a new high, first entry long, second entry long. This isn't a good signal bar, and it's far from the EMA. You'd be taking the trade off the strength of this yellow up channel. But if you do, this is the current high of day at the time. You don't have much room to scalp out, so I didn't even mark it. Pushes up, it kind of hits this consolidation area, pushes down, and I'm watching for a potential second entry long, potential bounce off of here. So you don't have a second entry long yet because you have 5 touches here. You have a first entry long here, and then you have a second entry long here, but I wasn't thinking of getting a trade ready. Once I saw this breakthrough, the only hope that I had was the next candle would be green and above, but it has a follow through red bar, which kind of made me think, okay, don't try to take a trade here. This one kind of broke below and came up. It needed to break one tick above or close super bullish for me to even consider a trade. So at this point, I'm not even thinking of taking a long now. It's just kind of sit on your hands and wait. Looks like it would have worked, but I do see a higher low here. Now this is almost trade because it's a break of this yellow up channel, and it made 2 legs up. One attempt up, pullback, second attempt up. This is a higher low. EMA is starting to hold, but it did have a previous break. But the thing I can't take, I didn't really like on any other condition, I think I would have taken it, is the potential economic data is also coming out. I think it was the crude oil inventories, which isn't a big impact news, but on a day like today where there's so much information coming out, that I would just be a little more weary, because this is kind of the data I was looking at. All this stuff is happening, and I just a little weary that maybe that might have an effect, the 7:30 Pacific Standard. So definitely, it was okay to just skip this trade, in my opinion. It would have worked though. Any other time, any other context, I think I would have taken this. Not any other context. I think the context was good, but any other time where I don't have to worry about a potential economic data coming out, I probably would have taken it. I also want to point out there was kind of like a trading range here. So it looked like it had a failed breakout. It's one attempt up. This could be the start of a second attempt up, but nevertheless, it was an almost trade in my book. Prices then continue moving, consolidates, breaks down, hits this consolidation area. This is a trade that I marked, but I didn't really mark it as a true trade because it's a new low. It's a first entry short, second entry short. I kind of thought about it at the time, and I was thinking, well, is there a trade here? It is a second entry short, but there's no room before you hit the previous range low. And even if you had your range down here, you're kind of running a pretty big risk. The only thing that was going for it was potentially this orange down channel, which at the time I was playing with different ideas. Maybe it's slightly higher, touching the highs. And it turns out it would have worked, but Of course, you don't know that at the time, so no harm, no foul. It had an interruption. So as I said, I marked this trade and I saw that it wasn't that much room to the lows, so I kind of skipped that one. Prices then continue moving downwards, breaks out, it bounces off the bottom of this blue up channel, which I like because it's kind of one out. And then prices pushed up, moves along this green up channel, consolidates in this, pushes up, moves up on this yellow up channel. Now this is very congested because these candles are pretty much the same size side by side, so I'm not too keen on entering something like this because it looks like you get shook out. Moves up on this yellow up channel, has a breakout, push back in. EMA is starting to act as support, pushes up and through. Creates a second entry long here, a visual first entry long, second entry long. Maybe there's a trade here. You could argue maybe there's a potential triple test, but I just wasn't too keen on this overshoot of this yellow up channel because overshoot, I'm thinking could create a bigger correction down to this side. So I'm just staying away from something like that. Pushes down on this orange down channel. It's a break of this orange down channel. First attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. Now I actually tried to take this trade. It's a missed trade. So you do have a triple test, or you have a multiple test going on here. You have this, excuse me, break of the orange down channel made two attempts up, created multiple tests here. Higher low, which is this guy, is engulfing this previous candle and closed at the low. I like that. So I tried to enter. So what I actually did was when I saw it close here, being conservative, I tried to enter. I wanted to make sure that this next candle, this big one that occurred, broke below this triple test here. So it opened, I was watching, and there was a very quick flash move down. It flashed through, I dropped in my order, and it never came back. And once it moved past, I think about 6 ticks, I just deleted my order because it moved too far now. The scalp is already made, the trade is gone without me. So unfortunately, I didn't trust the setup enough to have my order already waiting here, because if I did, when it opened here, I probably would have gotten filled, but I waited to see if it would break through. It did. It broke through decisively and never came back. Prices then continue moving. It was in this range for a little while. As a failed breakout, second entry long here. Technically, this is, I would say, the top of the range already. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. It's a good 2 clean legs down. Decent signal bar. It is kind of way outside though. So I was a little iffy on it. I wanted a higher low just to be sure. And you don't get a higher low. So unfortunately, this setup never, never showed up for us. Continuing this consolidation area, this green down channel doesn't exist yet. It pulls back, breaks down through the range. It hits this other new consolidation area, pushes up, and I actually thought this was a decent setup. Let's see. So there's clearly a triple test. It came down, it opened here, it tried to push up once. It does a bunch of stuff, breaks out of this orange down channel, makes one attempt down, potential second attempt down. It's also a new low here. First entry short, potential second entry short. Even if you don't see it as a range, you do see 2 legs up. This orange break, orange down channel, break, one attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. Downtrend potentially needs, a test of this low. So here, not only did it push up above, break through the EMA, but then it suddenly flushed all the way down and closed below this signal bar. Because the signal bar for a second entry short is this guy. It's not the best, but the trigger bar is fantastic because it closed at the low and also broke below. So even if you were, taking a trend trading range and you weren't really counting for second entries, you could argue that there is at least 2 legs up and potential enough momentum to push back through. So I thought this was a decent possible trade. Prices continue moving. So now it's very close to where the FOMC meeting, FOMC rate decision is coming out. It's 11 o'clock, which is right here. And about 15 minutes out, today rallied up, but on any other day, I've seen it enough times that it just really, really dries out with the volatility, even 30 minutes, maybe even an hour before, where it just moves sideways. So you get into a trade, you have to wait quite a long time. And that's not something I want to had to sit through. So I, didn't take any trades here. You can see these crazy rapid spikes up because this is all within 1 minute. Like these three candles happened very quickly. So I'm just waiting. I do see a second entry long here, but it's still only 10 minutes since the release. I'm just not trusting it. I need things to die down, but it was in any other time. I think I would have taken this trade because it's a new high. First entry long pullback. Second entry long. It's a good signal bar. Momentum's clearly pushing up. I did draw this purple trend channel as a holder. So you could argue there's another key entry point. But again, I'm just being extra cautious. It's only 10 minutes out. I want to wait till about 50 minutes out to initiate trades again. Prices move up. It kind of breaks. So it breaks below this purple up channel, then breaks back in. So it looks like it had a break and test of a new high. This purple up channel isn't the cleanest either, but it maybe have been slightly tighter. Maybe here if you're looking at something here, but nevertheless, I wasn't losing too much sleep over this because I wasn't that keen on looking for a decent setup just yet, because this is also where Jerome Powell comes out and starts adding his color commentary right around 11:30, and he only spoke for about 6 minutes. Then he started taking questions, and depending on how he answers questions, it could cause a lot of, I guess, spikes and moves. So just extra cautious around FOMC type days. Let's kind of break. It starts moving up this orange up channel. I see this potential second entry long. It's very close and very subtle though, because it's a new high. It's a first entry long by 1 tick, pushes back, second entry long. Now, second entry long, I thought this is a possible trade because it's bouncing off the EMA. It's a break of this orange up channel. Orange up channel wants to test its high. I don't have it established as a trading range just yet, so I don't have that as a key entry point. So I'm banking off the strength of this signal bar and the bounce off the EMA and the break of this orange up channel wanting to test its high. Then I get an even better setup because after this, it's, if you didn't count this as a push up, this is clearly one leg down, push up, a second leg down. The second leg, I think, is a slightly better trade than the previous. It's a break of the orange. Now it's one attempt up, pull back. This could be starting the second attempt up. After this push up, I don't know if I would have been able to enter, but I did see this is potentially a trading range at this point, especially after this close. So you'd have to be a little more aggressive and take it probably on the life of this candle and not when this candle closes. Although if you did, you'd have to sit through this and probably finally get your scalp out here. But after this candle closes, I would be weary of taking a trade because I need to push up to here, which there is enough room, but you could end up with something like this, which you'd have to sit through. So although I thought there's a possible trade, you'd have to be kind of early and aggressive, take it on the engulfing. Then it breaks out, well, breaks below, hits this other consolidation area. I actually had the trading range a little tighter previously, and then I dragged it down here when it looked like there's better match down here, and then the midline. So it looks like it's a two-tier channel. This is a triple test up here. I call this an almost trade because it is the top of the range, but I needed this candle after it broke out to break below this signal bar to feel more confident, because this is still bullish, so it could still make another attempt up. And if I took my entry here, even though we know what happens now, I was afraid that it might fill me and make one leg up, push up, making a second more decisive break before it came back down. So I just needed a better signal bar to take this trade. Breaks out, goes down on this yellow down channel, bounces, and it starts going down on this orange down channel. Unfortunately, there was no clean second entry shorts bounce off the EMA or a failed second entry long, because here I don't trust this orange down channel yet because I only have 1 touch, 2 touch confirmations. Right about here, this is when I finally do trust it because it has 1, 2, 3 touches and it fits nicely on the bottom. So now I have a clear channel down, but it's also getting close to the end of the day. So now I'm looking for any good signal bars and potential second entries. And you do have a new high, first entry short, second entry short. The problem I have with this one is I needed it to touch the EMA. And then I did like that it engulfed, but I did not like that it closed higher than it did break below the lows of this guy. So I do like the engulfing, The other criteria I need is I need the close to be below the body of this guy at least. Then because it looks a little bit toward the middle. So definitely I skipped this trade. The other thing that would have helped me take the trade was if it bounced off the EMA. But it's also breaking out of this orange. So it just kind of a little confusing to me. Just kind of decided to skip it. Price is reverse. It looks like it starts going up on this green up channel. I do see a second entry long here. It's an almost trade because you have two clean legs up, and then it looks like one attempt up. This could be the second attempt. Bounce off the EMA. It's a good signal bar. The unfortunate thing is it's too late in the day because this is only with 20 minutes roughly left in the trading day, and I didn't want to take this setup on a risk where the trading day is almost over. And it kind of factored into my mind that I was profitable for the day, and I didn't want to risk giving any of that back, especially when if I take a loss here, it would wipe out my profits and I'd have no time to try to, you know, trade it back. So it's just more like don't force a trade. So I had to leave it alone. Looks like it would have worked though. Kind of pushes into the end of the day though. And this kind of end of the day, last 10 minutes is always pretty crazy, especially today, because this is from here to here. So this span is 10 minutes of price action. And 10 minutes on a minute chart, you'd have 10 bars, but look at how many there are. So you can probably see that this is 53 bars. So every minute, every 20 seconds, no, 53 on 10 minutes. So it's 5 minutes per bar. Yeah, so every 10 to 12 seconds, there is a bar being made. So it's very, very quick. I tend to that also means you have to make a judgment call very quickly unless you see an absolutely spectacular setup. Otherwise, some trades, whether they're even if they're super perfect, if you're not dialed in and you don't see it set up correctly, you could be making a kind of a risky trade. So definitely had to leave it alone. So it's kind of how I saw the charts today. It was rather interesting to spike up and then just kind of consolidated mostly. I was able to get one trade off of it and just pretty much happy with that. So hopefully that was helpful.